And if the pawn keeps pushing, that means it's closer to the black pieces. H5 played by Nihal. F3 will just kick this knight out of here, and I think it's about time, Fabi, to boot that knight.
Yeah, you could play f3. You could bring the knight back to d3 to potentially go to f4 and put some pressure on black's h-pawn. Already, I would slightly prefer white because that h5 pawn is a bit more of a weakness that can be attacked. Of course, we're still talking about the dreaded 0-0-0 that the engine shows with almost any move, where it's very difficult to make mistakes here. Even if you blunder h3, like if you play knight d3 here, I don't even think you can take on h3, maybe because of f4, and then the knight is completely cut off from the game and might likely be lost. Still, we would probably see a draw there, but I don't even think black is threatening anything in this position. Still, h4 can't be a mistake. Don't even create any imbalances. Just protect all your pawns, put your pieces in defensive positions, and coast towards a draw.
Well, Wesley plays h4 after a big thing. Now we're into a bit of a scramble, but Wesley's a fantastic bullet player. We keep praising Nihal Sarin because he's often the highest rated player on chess.com, but Wesley himself is a fantastic player with just seconds on the clock.
Yeah, absolutely. And bishop h6 was played because black was trying to avoid white playing d5, kicking the knight away from the control of f4, and then knight to f4. If white were to play knight f4 here, he would actually get in this very serious trouble because black would take, play king to e6, put the king on d5, and then we're talking about a classic, very, very bad bishop and weak pawns scenario, but of course Wesley would never go for that. Further trades, going even closer towards that draw. Still, Nihal is trying, and the good thing from his perspective is that they're getting a bit lower in time, but knight f4 is coming next. Bishop f6, knight f4. The trades just keep coming one after the other, and yeah, I don't think Wesley is too worried.
I feel like it's just in time, because if that bishop had been to f6 with the king elsewhere, there would not have been knight f4 as a saving move. Instead, we see the bishop to h6. If the knight goes to f4, black will take with the bishop, and the h4 pawn will be loose. So I do like what Nihal's doing, but I also like what Wesley's doing. e5, just trading off pawns. Without pawns, there's no hope to win this game, and Fabi, only two left.
Well, I think what we might see is after knight takes e5, probably the trade of knights, and then a scenario where if white just gets rid of black's last e-pawn, it doesn't even matter if he loses the remainder of his pieces, because famously the bishop and the h-pawn do not win because the bishop is not on the right colored square. That would we say. If it was a light squared bishop, of course, that would win. But yeah, we just see a complete trade and king against king, fighting to the bare kings, and a draw.
And a draw is in the books. That is good news for Wesley So as he tries to make fetch happen and fetch $200,000 first place prize. We see him walking off the board, the computer there, and now he's going to go to the player area where he is going to take a deep breath as he leads now 3.5 to 1 now, Fabi.
Robert, you're not going to make, don't even try. You're not going to make fetch happen. That's not going to be a thing.
Okay.